In this lesson, we're gonna take a look at hinge constraint, and I'm gonna give you a homework in this lesson. So here, before I start, I want to mention that you want to open the scene called hinge constraint. Okay, start. So let's select these three boxes and let's go to fields and solvers and let's convert them to rigid bodies. Okay, active rigid bodies, and let's assign a gravity. Of course, I need to select all of them, and then again to fields and solvers and click on gravity. Okay, so now nothing special, so just the boxes falling down. Okay, so now let's select the first box and let's go to fields and solvers and click on hinge constraint. Okay, so now if you hit 4 on the keyboard, you'll notice the hinge constraint created at the center of the box. Okay, so let's move it up because I want to rotate the box at this pivot. Okay, and and if I hit play now, again nothing will happen because we don't have any force on the box here. So let's select that and let's go to rigid body 2 because this belongs to this box. Okay, so let's scroll down and let's set the force to negative x. Okay, so this is the negative x and let's set it to -6 for example, and let's hit play and see. Okay, as you see the box rotating at the pivot. Okay, and now let's select the first one and the second one. Of course, hold shift and the second one. We need to select both of them. Now let's go again to fields and solvers and click again on hinge constraint. Okay, so as you see by default Maya placed the hinge constraint between them. Okay, by the way, if your mesh are intersecting with each other, for example, let's say this mesh or this geometry is here. Okay, so you will get some problems and maybe Maya will crash. Okay, I'm gonna show you later how to fix it. Okay, so make sure you have space between the geometry you want to create active rigid body. Okay, so now let's hit play and see, and now as you see both of them are moving. Okay, and as you see the second box sticked to the first one. So now let's select the first one, the second one, sorry, and shift and select the third one, and let's go again to fields and solvers and click again on hinge constraint. And now let's hit play. As you see all of them are moving. Let's remove the force from here. Let's set that to 0 and let's set the force here. Okay, for the third one let's set it to -6. Okay, that's great. Let's take a look at another example. So I will open the file soccer ball mesh. If you remember from the previous lesson, the nail constraint, right? If you remember, we had a problem, right? So the balls were moving right and left. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to fix that using the hinge constraint. So let's go now to fields and solvers and click on active rigid body, and let's assign a gravity to, and now let's select the first one. Let's tear that off and let's click on hinge constraint and move it about 10 unit. Okay, and as you see the hinge oriented on Z, I want to orient it like this one. Okay, like on X. So let's set that to 90 degree on Y. Okay, so now it's oriented because I want to push the ball in this direction. So now let's select the second one and again hinge constraint, and let's set that to again to 10 and to 90, and the third one to hinge and 10 and 90, and the last one, okay, 10 and 90. Okay, so now let's select the first ball and let's go to rigid body 1 and let's scroll down and set the negative z, the velocity to negative z, negative, for example, 25. Maybe it's too strong. Oh, it's too strong, so let's set it to negative 10. And you'll notice now we don't have any problem that we talked about that earlier, okay? So because we are using the hinge constraint not allowing the balls going right or left, okay? So you can use this method to fix that problem, okay? So I want to show you your homework. Okay, so this is your homework. So if you hit play now, and you'll notice we have a ladder that moving front and back, okay? So the main problem is that the mesh are intersecting with each other. So if I hit 4, as you see, we have intersection between them. So if you just do it the simple way, for example, active rigid body and then applied a hinge constraint, you will get a problem or error here, okay? So you need to do another step. I want to show you. You can select the mesh and go to the rigid body, and here you'll notice we have a collisions, okay? I turned that off because the meshes are intersecting with each other, so that's causing my crash, okay? So you have two choices, or you can remove the collisions here, or you can remove the intersections by grabbing the vertices and move the vertices up, okay? Okay, so that's a hint for you before you start the homework. So make sure you do the homework and post it in the discussions, okay? So I can see it. So see you in the next lesson.